My common-law husband, 41, and I, 40 female, have been together for 10 years. I consider those years to be very loving and happy, but apparently not for him, since he had a side piece, obviously. I make furniture and make around 1 million euros a year. My husband's a teacher. It goes without saying that I provide for us. I don't ask what he does with his salary. We live way below our means because we're both minimalist, but we have a big house, nice cars, and lots of art. Everything is mine, however. Apparently, he met his side piece, female 20s, under false pretenses and told her that we were legally married, so he owned half my company and everything else I own. When she got pregnant, he started spending his salary on her. I wasn't alarmed because I didn't know what he did with his money. Now he's in Dubai on vacation, and her lease on the apartment is expired, so she just showed up at my door with her baby. She told me she was his girlfriend and that he was getting a divorce, so she might as well live in his house, and I could live in a hotel because I could afford it. She didn't have any money or home. She literally refused to step out, so I called the police and locked myself in the greenhouse. When the police came, she was literally unpacking the child's clothes in the living area. They escorted her out. I was very shaken. Later, I found out all the details I had included above. My husband's mother thought I was an idiot for kicking out a little baby on the street. That was her only grandson. She thought I used and abused my money and power to control everything around me. But honestly, teachers make $60K a year. So if, as I found out later, he gave her his salary, I can't understand why she'd be so homeless and destitute. She had big designer bags, a designer stroller, and Van Cleef & Arpels jewelry when she showed up at my home. But now I'm the idiot for kicking her out, even though she's basically homeless? Edit. I won't divorce him. I'm not married. He wants to take an early plane home to explain. What is there to explain? He said she tricked him into getting pregnant, and I know that he hates children. But how do you trick people into having children? There are so many questions, and I have absolutely no desire to get any answers. I feel only emptiness. I thought he loved me, but he's a great actor, apparently. My husband is in Dubai for another week, and now I suspect that he's cheating. He's with some work colleagues. Not the idiot. Pack his crap and put it in the front yard when you know he's landed and is on his way to your house. And let his mommy know to come get his cheating butt from your home. She didn't raise him well, so she should take the consequences. Tell girlfriend that now that your ex-husband is homeless, they can pool their money and get a bigger place or live with his mommy. Boo-hoo for girlfriend. I would block her. And you don't need to entertain his explanations. It'll just distress you more. And there's nothing he could ever say to make you feel better. Personally, I would pack his crap, leave it out, change the locks, pick an intermediary for you guys to talk to, and block him. I would also consider locking the house up tight and staying somewhere else for a bit, because he will be living on your doorstep trying to get another chance. Also, you should get tested for STDs, since he's been having unprotected intimacy. He probably means she baby-trapped him because she thought he was rich. I love these stories when the affair partner finds out that it's the wife who has the money, not the man they're cheating with. The audacity of the mistress to tell you to get out of your own house is another level. I can't wait for their fallout when she finds out he doesn't have all these assets and his teacher's salary won't go that far now that you won't be providing for him. On a side note, imagine pouring $60K into some side piece while your own mother lives in a tiny studio apartment. I mean, clearly his mom is no prize either, but that's yet another way this guy sucks. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Screw your husband and his affair baby. It's not your problem. If your mother-in-law is so concerned about her grandchild, she can house them. This child has zero relation to you. My husband and I are doing okay financially. We make enough not to worry about rent and necessities, save a decent amount, and have scope for growth in our careers. I make a little more than a third of our combined income. We're both in our late 30s, and we have 2 young grammar school-aged boys. I have never liked my husband's family, most of them anyway, because they have a lot of old-fashioned opinions and don't really approve of me. We don't have a lot of contact, so it's okay though. My husband's cousin's wedding is this week, and they're getting married in our city. So we offered to have his parents, aunt, and uncle stay with us. The bride and groom are renting a place. It is a bit of a squeeze, but it's working. They've been here for 2 days now, and on the first day, I heard them discussing how it's so sad that our children won't get to have a proper childhood with a mom at home, as my husband and his cousin got. They knew I could hear while they were in the living room and I was in the kitchen. I was stewing, but I don't really like confrontation, so I didn't say anything. Later, I asked my husband if he could please tell them to shut up with the snide comments about me. He said that that's just their opinion and it's not really hurting me. If I'm bothered, I should learn to stick up for myself and that he can't always do it for me. This sort of struck a nerve because it's true that I usually ask him to do small things like telling the drive-thru person if our order's wrong. It just makes me feel weird and guilty, but somehow it feels like more his responsibility because it's his family involved here. Anyways, so today, my father-in-law made one more pointed comment during dinner, and I said, "Your son makes X. We live in a big city, and the rent is X. We literally cannot live on his salary, so I don't know why you think I should be home all day." They were pretty quiet after that. Now my husband's really angry with me because I put him down in front of his family, who are all richer than us and will look down on him. Am I the idiot? Definitely not the idiot. Your husband and in-laws, however, common sense dictates that you have their back if your family has a problem with your spouse. Still, I think you handled things perfectly, given that your husband is a textbook idiot and doesn't defend you when he should. He doesn't get to be mad for how you chose to do what he said. You just took his advice. Also, is he a teenager? Why is he so pressed about his family knowing such trivial things as your rent and general income? If he didn't want you to say those things, he should have had your back, I guess. Your husband wants you to stand up for yourself, and you did. You're not staying at home in part because their son does not earn enough for you to stay home. It's telling that your husband didn't mind when you were being put down, but is now angry because his family will look down on him. I wonder how he justifies the double standard. I've been with my partner for about 9 months. I honestly love him to pieces. However, we're both very steadfast regarding our views and beliefs, etc. Today it was super hot and sticky, so we decided to vacuum out the vents in the room to increase airflow. I have terrible allergies, so he suggested I step out while he did this. Knowing it would only take 5 to 10 minutes, I stepped into the bathroom and took a 2-minute ice-cold shower. I had showered earlier this morning and just wanted to feel the cold water. So by the time I got out, he was finishing up. He gave me the all clear, and upon entering the room, he was visibly angry. I asked, "What's wrong?" After some hesitation, he told me that he planned to shower, but now would have to wait for the bathroom to dry out. I assured him the floor was dry, and I cleaned up after myself, even adding that I'd used cold water, so steam shouldn't be an issue either. He says, "No, the shower. I can't be in it while it's wet, or I might slip and fall." Now, I know people get on one another's nerves after a certain amount of time, but is this just picking, or am I being insensitive here? Edit. After further clarification, he says that due to his weak ankles, he needs the shower floor to be dry before entering so that he can get his footing. I think I went back in and towel dried the shower and the bathroom floor to avoid it becoming a thing and ruining the rest of the day. This hasn't been an issue as far as I know in the time we've been together. Today is the first I've heard of it. I'm picturing him getting in the shower. The floor is dry and he plants his feet. Does he not move them for the entire shower so that the shower floor stays dry under his feet? OP, your boyfriend is, intellectually challenged. If you really can't live without him, at least ensure your birth control is locked down. And for the good of the species, please don't have children with him. OP, are you dating a 90-year-old? Or more like a chinchilla? No water, just rolling in the dust? That's insane. I've never heard of someone insisting on a dry shower floor. What does he do when he's in the shower? He realizes it's wet at that point, right? He's being obnoxious on purpose. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, your boyfriend's an idiot. So, a little backstory. My husband's friend moved in with us temporarily because he got kicked out of his family home. He's been a great guest. Honestly, he pays his rent, takes us out to dinner, and cooks for us. Everything's been very nice. He works a graveyard shift, so we only see him a few hours a day, usually in the evenings. A few weeks ago, someone broke into our house at around 2:30 a.m. Luckily, our bedroom had a deadbolt, so I locked myself in and told him I was calling the police. He grabbed a few things and booked it. Luckily, we have security cameras, so the cops were able to find him quite easily. That's being taken care of right now. What confused me at the time was that our security system didn't go off. We set it every night, and if a door is open and the system isn't disarmed after a certain amount of time, the police are contacted. The night of the incident, the system was disarmed, and I felt like an idiot. I felt like I put myself in danger. That was until my husband's friend, I'll just call him Dan from now on, told my husband and me the truth. Dan had been disarming the security system and leaving the front door unlocked every single night. He told us it was just easier to come home after a long shift and not to have to deal with unlocking the door every day and turning off the system. My husband and I were gobsmacked. I flat out told Dan he couldn't live here anymore. He was surprised for some reason, but luckily my husband backed me up. He told Dan he wasn't going to risk me to keep a roof over his idiot head. He'd rather have me and lose him. Dan was double surprised. Apparently, he thought my husband would bend for him, but he reluctantly agreed. He's now completely moved out. All he brought was a computer and his clothes, so it didn't take long. Now, some of our mutual friends are getting into our business and telling us we're bad people because Dan has had to couch surf and even had to stay in a shelter one night. I told the mutual friends who were complaining that they were right and that I'd tell Dan that they were stepping up and taking him in, which obviously made them backtrack immediately. I'm just tired of people who are supposed to be our friends calling us terrible people and being so hypocritical because no one is willing to help out Dan like we did. It's just really starting to guilt me though. So am I the idiot for making our friend basically homeless for causing a break-in? Edit. Unfortunately, my husband wasn't home at the time of the break-in. He was away with work. It was literally just me, which made it 10 times scarier. Not the idiot. Dan was an absolute lazy and careless idiot for putting you and your home at risk like that. You could have been assaulted or killed if the person who entered your house had a mind to do so. I'm glad your husband supported you in this decision. The friends who are kicking up a stink can take him in. Dan can reimburse you for the stolen items as a direct result of his stupidity if they had not been recovered. My cynical self wonders if Dan set it up. I'd also recommend changing your alarm code and locks too. You were in real danger due to his stupidity and laziness. Continue what you've been doing and double down with the flying monkeys. Call out their hypocrisy and tell them you've done more than any of them. It's their turn now to be the good friends they expect you to be, publicly, if you must. But at least your husband is backing you up on this decision. That's all that matters. Who cares what other people are saying about you guys? Why aren't they taking him in then? Why is it all on you guys? It's not fair to them to hold that standard for you, especially after what you did, and he caused this to happen to you. It's the sad reality, but the dude has to figure his stuff out. It sounds like he's a grown adult. I, 19 female, just finished my freshman year of college. My grandmother, 82, is unfortunately in the later stages of cancer and is not expected to live much longer. We were very close when I was a child, much of which was because I'm her only granddaughter, which is something she's always wished to have. One of the ways we bonded was through my hair. I had it very long, all the way down my back, and she loved how it looked like hers did when she was a kid. I was repeatedly told my whole life, especially by my grandmother, to never cut it, as it was beautiful. I came out as a lesbian at 16 and started to take on more of a masculine appearance. In turn, my self-confidence became a lot stronger, but it also definitely alienated me from my family. They're not superphobic by any means. Still, they're uncomfortable with the idea of me being gay, especially because I'm the only girl. Throughout those last few years of high school, despite wearing masculine clothes and getting undercut in my hair, I still kept my hair super long. I still kept my super long hair. My parents didn't love this new look, but they never tried to stop me. Going to college far away from where I grew up has allowed me to embrace the look I'm going for a little more, and the obvious step for me was to cut my hair. It was something that I had wanted to do for years. So in April, right after I returned to campus from spring break, I had a friend of mine shave all my hair off, knowing I wouldn't have to face the consequences with my family for another month or so when I came home from college. I love my shaved head. I feel so much more like myself without all that hair weighing me down, and I donated all my hair. I was incredibly nervous about my family seeing me without my hair. I was too nervous to tell my parents, so it came as a shock to them when my dad picked me up at the airport and saw me. His immediate concern was that this trip home could be the last time I saw my grandmother, and it would absolutely break her heart to see me without my hair. When I got home, my mom was absolutely livid. She said that it was incredibly selfish of me to do this when I knew I was going to come and see my grandmother, who loved my hair, and that it was unfair to her to have the last image of her only granddaughter being, in her words, an ugly tomboy hairdo. I feel awful because while I did this for myself, I feel great about the haircut. It breaks my heart to think about my grandmother and what I did to her by doing this, as the first thing she always used to do when she saw me was tussle my hair and compliment it. My parents are still furious at me, and so are my brothers, because my grandmother's our matriarch, and we're all trying to do everything we can to make her happy and comfortable at the end of her life. They're all saying that I should have at least waited for her to pass before I cut my hair. Am I the idiot for not considering this when I shaved my head? Not the idiot. Your body, your choice. I'm sorry you have a family like this. Your grandma loves your hair? What the heck? That's so weird. The rest of your family can shut up. You're an adult. You can cut your hair however and whenever you like. Your grandmother loves you more than your hair. Just tell her that you cut it to feel more confident in who you are, and that you donated to help others feel more confident in themselves. This is honestly a hard one for me. Normally, I would very much be on the not the idiot train with everyone else. However, I also feel like giving a huge, unwelcome, and unannounced shock to a dying woman you love is kind of harsh, and you are the idiot for that. I think your parents are grieving. Death and funerals are hard, despite what the media and society tells us should happen. Hard times can create harsh words, and real family deserves some leeway. I agree. You are the idiot. If it were me, I'd probably have held off cutting my hair just a bit longer, considering the circumstances. I can see why family members are mad. It's not about the hair so much as the potential shock for a very sick grandma.